Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hybrid Athlete Dad podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what my daughter has taught me about fitness and grit. Every time I step into the gym or lace my shoes up for a run, I know that she's watching. My daughter may be young, but I've come to realize that how I show up in fitness and in life is shaping how she'll define strength, resilience, and grit. In this episode, I'm sharing the lessons I've learned about being a role model and how striving to be my best has become so much more than just me. It's about inspiring her. Now, before I get into today's episode, if you listen to any episodes or this is your very first episode, you'll find that I like to go over anything that's going on in my life when it comes to fitness, nutrition, or anything that I think that you may find interesting and that is worthwhile in sharing. If you tuned into last week's episode, I'm sure as you heard, I was coughing quite a bit throughout it, but wanted to make sure that I got the episode done for everyone to listen to. The goal with this week's episode is hopefully not to be coughing too much. I feel as though I've gotten pretty good over the cold that I had. So again, hopefully won't be coughing too much. It's funny, as I'm talking, I feel a cough coming on, so hopefully it won't continue too much throughout the episode today. So now looking at today's episode, and obviously want to be going into what my daughter has taught me about fitness and grit. But before that, again, going over some things in my personal life. So it's been great. I've had a full workout last week. The week prior, I had a good cold, good chest congestion, head cold, sinuses, pretty much just everything coming in all at once. Not going to go into details. I'm sure everyone in the audience can picture what it's like having that. So try to do some running, try to do some working out. Obviously, with all that, took it a little bit lighter, skipped a few workouts, wanted to get back to full health. So last week, got back to full health. It felt great. Was back to running 30 miles for the week, hit up all 5 workouts. So ended up being a great week overall. And I'm glad that I did because there's been times where I've been sick, or I end up pushing myself a little too hard, and I want to get running. I want to get back to the gym, and then it ends up delaying how much I can run. I think the turning point came where I would run 2 or 3 miles 2 different days in a row, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday got up to run 5 miles, or thought I was going to be running 5 miles, and I was just not feeling great. Was still very congested, so I ended up taking the full weekend off, and I feel as though that allowed me to recover a lot quicker than if I'd pushed myself to run another 5 miles. Where at this point I've been running about 30-ish miles a week for quite a while now, probably 6 months or so. So I know I'm not going to lose the endurance. That's not going to happen. So just let me take the time off, let me rest and recover. And obviously, last week was feeling a lot better because of it. Something interesting. Actually, I don't know how interesting it'll be to you, but our daughter's daycare was off on Friday. They had a professional development day. Typically on Fridays right now is when I'm going out and doing my long run. So now that she's home, I don't want to do my long run on Fridays. So I ended up switching up a little bit different on how I ran throughout the week. So I ended up on Tuesday was wanting to run 7 miles. So that's my long run. Every other week I run 7 miles on a long run and 10 miles long run. Just because I don't want to go out and be doing 10 miles every week. That's just not my preference. And it's not really what I want to be doing. So 7 or 10 and then different mileages in between. So on Tuesday, I was going to go 5 on Monday, 7 on Tuesday, 6 on Wednesday, and then 5 on Thursday, 2 on Friday, 5 on Saturday. So it was mixing up my schedule a little bit. Ended up on Tuesday, the route I'd ran, I ended up getting back to my house. I was at like 7.15 miles. I was like, okay, let's just hit 7.5. So on Wednesday, we're going to have 5.5, and ended up getting up to 8 miles. Probably could have done 10 miles, but I knew I had to start my workday. So I ended up doing 8 miles. So that was nice, just knowing that I was pushing myself. And on Tuesdays is when I run hills. So it wasn't an easy workout, or wasn't an easy run, but was able to push through it. Honestly, I felt great because of it. I don't know if it was because I didn't run too much the week prior. I think I ran 10 miles the week prior, but the 8 mile run felt great. And it was funny thinking, like, okay, here's Monday and Tuesday, and I already ran more miles than I already had the previous week. So that was just about readjusting my run and, pushing myself a little bit further on this one part of the run, I should say. And there's times where I know, looking at, my daughter has Good Friday off. So that's going to be April, I believe, 18th. Don't quote me on that, but I know it is 2 weeks from the previous Friday. And I'll have to run the same sort of situation where I'll have to maybe do on Tuesday, do my long run, and then, adjust my running throughout the week. Definitely a little bit trickier where I'm used to having Thursdays either doing 2 miles or no miles, depending on the week. If I'm running 10 miles, I do nothing on Thursday. If I'm running 7 miles on Friday, I'm running 2 miles on Thursday. And that's how I set it up. So running 5 miles, then 8 miles, then 5 miles, and 5 miles, wasn't used to that much, but made it a lot easier on Friday, where I ended up only running 2 miles and was able to spend a lot of time. Because 2 miles, I honestly just went a mile out, and then when I came and did a mile back, it was perfect. That way I wasn't exhausted, I wasn't tired, and I was able to spend the whole day with her. So with that said, that's really going to dive us into today's episode, which again is what my daughter has taught me about fitness and grit. So as of recording this episode, and when this episode is going to be going live, our daughter will be about 22 months old. So for those of you who can't math, she's about 2 years old. And I say that, I was not going to say, but I was having a conversation with a gentleman the other day, and he asked me how old my daughter was, and I told him she's 21 months. He's like, oh wow, like she's already over 2 years. So for those in the audience that may not know the math, that 12 months is 1 year. So she is almost 2 years. And I know that she may not understand what I'm doing yet when she sees me coming home from the gym, when she sees me eating high quality meals with proteins, with carbs, with good fats, when she sees me when I'm coming back from a run, or as an example on Friday, when I'm getting dressed for a run and I'm putting on my running shoes and my running gear, and I put on my reflective vest that I wear. And again, she may not understand exactly what I'm doing yet. And obviously, again, she's 22 months old, under 2 years, but I know that she's paying attention. And I can see when I'm putting on my running gear, she'll start clapping and she'll start saying positive sayings like "go dada" and "go," and just start clapping. And obviously, she has no idea what I'm doing. Obviously, she doesn't clap when I'm eating, but I want her to see, like, hey, I'm having a protein shake, or I'm having good quality eggs, or we're having the steak with rice and broccoli, or we're having, as an example, tonight's dinner is going to be grilled chicken on the grill, and then it's going to be rice and broccoli. And just setting these examples for her, again, she may not understand, why am I eating this food? Why am I working out? But I know that she's paying attention and she's really soaking everything up like a sponge. And so you have to be careful because she'll repeat everything. I mean, everything that you say. So you have to make sure that you're setting that good quality example for her. The why behind my training has definitely shifted since she's been born. So my previous why behind my training was really, I just want to stay in shape. It wasn't necessarily being about the best shape. I wasn't following my diet too much. I wasn't doing too much cardio, really any cardio at all, other than walking on the treadmill. But it was just about staying in shape. And just by having those sort of, I wouldn't call it low expectations, but having those expectations of not following my diet, I'm not doing any cardio, I ended up, as I felt, as though becoming a little out of shape, even though the goal I had was just to stay in shape. So ever since we've had our daughter, so I don't want to say I've had my daughter. Obviously, I'm not the one that went through that entire process. I can credit my wife for that. But since I became a father to my daughter, I've had this desire to be a role model for her. And when it came to being this role model for her, it has really deepened my understanding of grit, purpose, and consistency, grit when it comes to pushing myself, purpose when it's like, okay, now it's not just me that I have to take care of. It's also this little, person, this my daughter who can't take care of who can't really do anything on her own at all, especially when she's first born. Obviously now she can do a little bit more, but she's fully dependent on us, obviously, right now. And then just that consistency of continuing to show up every single day. When it came to playing the long game, it was like, okay, I just want to stay in shape, and that's about it. Now it's like, okay, I want to be healthy and strong for all of our milestones that she has in life. And I especially look back, like, as I get older, and I'm sure you've seen folks when you're out and about, or maybe even know people, but as they get older, maybe in their 50s and 60s and 70s, they weren't eating healthy. They weren't going to the gym. They weren't getting any exercise, and even if it was just walking, and you can see the toll that it takes on them mentally and physically. They're not in the best shape, so maybe they're having certain health problems, whatever that may be. Maybe high blood pressure, maybe diabetes, things that I don't think anyone wants to have. Maybe when it comes to mobility, they have a hard time getting around, and maybe they have to use a wheelchair, or they have to use a cane and they're struggling to walk. That's not where I want to be. I want to be as strong and healthy as I possibly can for my daughter. And I know that one that comes from the workouts that I put in, whether at the gym or the cardio sessions that I have, or and coupled with that, I don't want to say or, but coupled with that is eating healthy, eating good quality foods, making sure that I'm getting enough nutrition in every single day. So that's part of the reason. I want to say part of the reason. Honestly, that's probably the full reason between of trying to be this role model and playing the long game. I'm just trying to stay healthy and strong, so as she gets older, I can kick the soccer ball with her, or if she wants to play softball or basketball or even track, if she wants to run around the track, I can run around with her. I can continue picking her up. Actually, I mean, she's decently heavy right now. I mean, she's 26, 27 pounds, and you pick her up and you walk her around, and she's definitely a little heavy, but it's to the point where now I can just pick her up, I scoop her up in my left arm, and I can just hold her, and I can walk around with her, and I can walk around with her for pretty much however long I want. To give you an example, this past weekend, my wife, she was at a bridal shower, and I had my daughter, and I wanted to take her to the sports card shop, and I wanted to just get some, take a look at what they had. I hadn't been there in quite a while, whether I wanted to get like football cards or baseball cards, but I didn't want to put her on the ground because they have these glass cases where they have their very expensive cards, their very expensive hobby boxes. So I just scooped her up, and I must have spent like, I don't know, 20 minutes walking around the store, just taking a look at everything, seeing like, okay, like, what do I maybe want to purchase? What do I maybe want to consider for the future? And just had her in my arm and not tired at all. And I know, like, okay, if I was out of shape, if I didn't lift weights, if I didn't do any cardio, maybe if I didn't eat healthy, it would be hard for me to hold this 26, 27 pound daughter in my hand and walking her around, and knowing like, okay, as she gets older, I still want to be able to pick her up and do things with her and not worry that I'm falling behind because my health and my fitness maybe isn't in the best spot that it absolutely could possibly be. It's been able it's just watching her from the very moment that she was born, when it came to walking, when it came to failing, and just trying over and over and over again. Now she's walking, and even now and then she might fall, but she just gets right back up, and realizing that's really that's true grit. I mean, the amount of times that she falls, or she runs into something, or she gets a bruise or a bump, she just gets right back up and she continues to push on as if nothing happened. I like to think of her playing soccer, or we take her to gymnastics or swimming, and she just picks it up. And even if it's hard to do swimming at first, obviously, and I'm holding her, obviously, when it comes to swimming, she can't swim on her own. But gymnastics, and now all of a sudden she's holding onto the bar instead of having to have me hold on to her. When she's holding onto the bar, she can hold onto the bar fully on her own. So now that when taking her to soccer, where she can run up the field with the soccer ball and kick it in the goal for the most part. Sometimes she might just like take the ball in her hands and run down the field with it. But again, she is getting the grasp of it and realizing that even if she fails, she can continue to get back up and continue to push herself forward. And I think that's just so important because so many times we fail. Maybe we wanted to run a marathon in 4 hours and we did it 4.5 hours. Maybe we wanted to do an Ironman and we missed the cutoff time. Maybe we wanted to do a 5K and we're just not feeling up for it. Whatever it may be, just knowing that my daughter, she continues to get back up no matter how many times she fails. And you could think of it as if your kid or even through your kid, where they're boring, not boring, they are born with resilience and persistence. And I'm learning from her, from my daughter, as much as she is from me. And somewhere along the line in our life, and I don't know where it is, but we lose that resilience and we lose that persistence. I don't know if it's we get out of college and we get a good, safe, comfortable job, and then that's it, but we stop pushing ourselves, whether it's at work, whether it's physically, mentally, whatever it may be. I don't know when that point happens in a person's life. I just know that there's a good majority of people out there that just stop pushing themselves at some point in her life. And I want to teach my daughter that I want to teach her that having resilience and persistence is what's going to push you forward, and that you can fail at times and things aren't going to go your way, but you continue to get back up. And I know that she's learning so much from me, and I want to be able to learn so much from her. I want to see she falls down, she gets back up. She falls down, she gets back up. She's always open to trying new things. And I think of that in my own personal life, trying a triathlon, doing a sprint triathlon, or jumping from doing a 5K to doing a marathon within a few months, or jumping from a half marathon to a full in 6 weeks, and just trying to be that example for her. And when I talk about grit, it isn't just big efforts. Obviously, running a marathon is a big effort. Completing a triathlon, that's going to be a big effort. But it's in that small daily consistency of taking consistent action every single day. She can see that I'm at the gym or I have worked out because I always have my workout gear on. I've gone for a run. I have my, again, good quality, healthy meals, and I'm just setting that example and just continuing on with that small daily consistency. It's not eating healthy one day. It's not going to the gym one day. It's not just doing one run. It's doing that consistently, compounding it over time after time after time after time. My daughter has inspired me to live with more intention because actions speak louder than words. I can tell her, you should eat healthy. You should go for a run. You should go to the gym. But is she going to eat healthy if I'm over there eating a donut? If I'm not going to the gym? If I'm not going for a run? I know that I have to live with more intention that I have to be showing her because I know that my actions are going to speak more to her than me telling her what she should be doing. And I want her to know that I'm going to the gym, I'm getting my runs in, I'm eating healthy, that she adapts to it and she gravitates to it. And I like to think back on my parents and having them live with intention and seeing my dad go to the gym, seeing him work out in the morning. We used to have a home gym in the basement. I would get up and here I'd be working out, and it was a normal part of life. It was okay, he's going to be working out. This is just something that we do. I want to be working out, and eventually caught the bug when I was in high school. And again, that just goes back to actions speak louder than words, especially when it comes to your son or comes to your daughter, and just setting that example for them and not just telling them, hey, you should be eating healthy. Or again, you should be running, you should be doing cardio, or you should be going to the gym. Saying, I'm going to the gym today. Hey, do you want to come? Or this is why I like going to the gym. Or this is the benefits I get out of running. Hey, here's why I eat healthy. And then here's me actually doing it, not just me telling you it. I realized that my daughter is going to remember how I showed up for her, not just what I said. And what I mean by that is just making sure that I'm always being there for her. That's why I typically will go out and I'll do my runs after I drop her off at daycare and before I work, because I want to make sure that I'm home in time for when she gets home from daycare, and then I'm not just running when she gets home. I want to make sure that as soon as she walks through the door, she sees me and then I'm waiting for her, and hopefully my work day will be done at that point. I want her to see me that again, not telling her you should be going out for a run, but she actually sees me running. Telling her that she should be eating healthy, and she actually sees me eating healthy. And again, going to the gym, same thing. And not to beat a dead horse with these different points, but it's just knowing that, okay, my daughter is watching absolutely everything that I do. What type of person do I want to be? Do I want to be the person that doesn't chase their goals, that just sits on the sidelines, that wants to live a comfortable life? What example is that setting for my daughter? Or do I want to be the person that's pushing themselves, that's making themselves wildly uncomfortable and going for their goals? And if I fail, and that's okay. And letting her know, like, there's just sometimes there's just a goal where I had the goal of running this marathon and not stopping at all, and I get 21 miles in, and I can't. My legs are on fire. I'm almost like delirious, and I just end up having to walk 0.05, running half a mile, walk 0.05, and I wouldn't say that's a failure that I didn't run the whole marathon, but I look at it as like, okay, like telling her like, here's what I could be doing better next time, and going through that checklist. It's being physically and mentally present for my daughter, even on the days that I'm tired. Obviously, there's a lot going on throughout my day. I'm working a full job. I have a side hustle that I run. I'm running and I'm lifting. But even then, I can't be tired when I'm around my daughter. I want to make sure that I'm showing up for her so that even if I'm physically or emotionally tired, that I'm mentally present for her, even on the days that I'm run, or even on the days that I'm tired. So there's days that I run and I come back tired, but I want to make that sure that I show up for her. And again, it's just like showing up for her and setting that example for her. And there's just so much that my daughter has taught me about fitness and grit. What I hope she learns is that strength comes in many forms. That it can come in lifting weights. It could be going out and doing a 20-mile run. But it's also being patient with yourself and showing kindness and love to yourself to know, like, okay, maybe my goal today was to do a 400-pound deadlift, and I did 395, and I tried to get to 400. I added a simple little 2.5 weights on either side, and I tried to pick it up, and I just couldn't. I plan to go out and do a 20-mile run today, and I only did 18 miles. And just knowing that you did 18 instead of 20 miles, you know how many people could do 18-mile run? Probably not that many. Do you know how many people could deadlift 390 pounds? Again, probably not that many. But I guarantee you that if you stick with it, you'll be able to hit that 400-pound deadlift. That'd be awesome if she could deadlift 400 pounds, by the way. That would be that'd be pretty amazing. That you can go out there and you can try again and you can do a 20-mile run and you're gonna learn from it. You're gonna learn from your mistakes, but just being patient to yourself and being kind to yourself to know that this is a long journey. You're going to have more attempts to continue to push yourself. And you can think about at the gym, maybe you want to bench 225 and you've been benching 215 for say 6 to 8 reps, no problem. And you want to go bench 225 and you go to push it up. And next thing you know, this spotter has to pick up the bar off your chest and continuing to push yourself and to get back out and continue to grow as much as you can. I hope that she learns that it's okay to struggle, but it's never okay to quit on yourself. There's always going to be these peaks and valleys that you have in your life. Sometimes you might be in a and a good peak where I could think of. I've had a month where I hit every single workout, I hit all my miles, I'm running fast on my miles. And then I can think of a valley like March where I couldn't work out for a week because I had a procedure done. And then I end up getting a cold at the end of the month, so my progress is very up and down. And then now I'm hoping I'm coming out of that valley and I'm going right towards a peak again, and then hopefully stay up at the top of the mountain. But know that there's gonna be times that you struggle and it's hard, but just it's never okay to quit on yourself. That when I was training for my triathlon, when I first started swimming, it was hard. I knew how to swim. I didn't know how to swim for a long period of time, but I continued to stick with it. I learned I'm not gonna quit on myself. Like, yeah, it's super difficult, but I'm gonna be continuing to push myself, and just knowing and teaching her that, again, sometimes we struggle, but that doesn't mean that it's okay to quit on yourself. If I had a message that I could leave with my daughter, and hopefully one day she'll be checking out this podcast, but it's one day when you're older and you look back, I hope you see a dad who never stopped growing for you. I hope she knows that I never stopped pushing myself, that I never stopped becoming a better version of myself, because I always just wanted to be the inspiration for her, and that I hope that she can see what I'm doing, and then as she grows up, as she gets older, she can follow in my footsteps, and she can do the same for her kids, and then her kids and her kids and their kids, however many kids they may have, generations down the line. But just knowing that I never stopped pushing myself, that I was always choosing to live the uncomfortable life because I wanted to be the inspiration for her. My fitness journey just became so much more meaningful when she came into my life. It just gave me the renewed sense of purpose. And I think any parent can attest out there what it's like when you have your first child, and just the meaning that they have to them, and everything just changes in your life. But as we wrap up today's episode, the greatest lesson that I could share with you is just making sure that you lead by example, not perfection. No one's going to be perfect. There's days that I might have a cheat meal, or maybe I just take it a little bit lighter in the gym, but not everyone's perfect. We're all going to have our ups and downs, but just lead by example.